Well, welcome once again to Raising the Consciousness of Humanity podcast. And today I have the pleasure of bringing on the show Sarah Shook. She is a intuitive guide, channeler, clairvoyant, and also former comedian. And yeah, Sarah, it's so great that you're here. I'm happy that you joined us.
I'm happy I did too. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I saw that like you have all those intuitive gifts, and I've seen a lot of your videos, and I see how you guide with things that are coming through you that you're sharing about New Earth, and I really want to dive into New Earth, and I want to talk about also some of the guidance that we can give people at this time, and things that to help people that are maybe they're going into a little bit of fear too, because every time things are radically shifting in people's lives, whether it's in their immediate individual life of being displaced or whatever, or something on a greater world stage, people can sometimes go into fear, worry, and doubt.
Mm.
And so I want to, maybe share a little bit about that too, so it can help people what they can do. Maybe we get into a channeled message from you. But before we go there, tell me a little bit of your backstory. Like, what is it that kind of called you to do this? Were you intuitive as a child? Was there anything that, maybe a radical, like some people have that moment in their life where something completely like tears them open and shifts them in a way. So tell me a little bit about your background and the fact that you're a former comedian.
Mhm.
And I love that because I believe humor and joy and things that make people laugh elevate our vibration in a way. And so to have that gift as well as I was always thinking like, oh wow, intuitive and a comedian, I'd love to be able to look into the future and see if my jokes work. Like if the audience actually would laugh at them. But yeah, so share about your story. What took you down that path, and how did you awaken to do what you're doing right now?
Yeah. I want to, if it's okay, I was going to say something based off of what you said. If I could look into the future to see that my jokes work, and I just heard in my head, well, the future is right now. It's within your body. It's a
Yeah.
feeling. And like, so you can feel if that's going to work. So
Good
yeah,
answer. Yeah.
I grew up small town, a Christian with a very Christian family, and I think that I had a lot of intuitive stuff happening for me, but because of the religion, I didn't really pay attention to it. I remember when I was 11, I was going on a trip with one of my friends and her mom was bringing a friend. So I was dropped off at the friend's house by my mother, and we're standing in the driveway before we're getting ready to all leave. And the husband of the mom's friend was there. And my mom turns to him and says, "What are you going to do for a whole week while your wife is gone?" And clear as day, I hear in my head, "Well, he's going to cheat on her because he's cheating on her." And
Mm.
I like look around and I'm like, did anyone else hear that? And I can feel like an energy on my left side, like it was talking to me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I go to get my bag out of my mom's car after that. And I tell her, I go, I heard this thing. And she's like, oh, that's just judgment. We're just judging people. And I joke around saying, like, yeah, I must have been judging the guy because he was wearing like he's in his 40s and he was, had frosted tips and a skin tight turtleneck on in the middle of July. So I'm just like, all right, this guy. Anyways, we go on the vacation, and about 3 months later, when I'm back home, my mom comes into my room and she says, I just wanted to let you know that Miss So and so, who you went on vacation with, is getting a divorce. She found out her husband is cheating on her.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I heard that something told me that was not judgment, that was intuition, that was messaging that I received. And I kind of had those moments, like smaller moments in that moving forward in my life. I would just know things about people. I would feel them. I had something later on in my life happen with my aunt when she was going through a divorce, and my mom said, "I think you're right about that." And we went over to her house, and uh, the thing that I mentioned was so. And I think I didn't really pay attention to it. I also, every time I closed my eyes as a child, I would start seeing images immediately. And I thought that's what everybody saw. That's just what happened. And I remember asking my brothers and my cousins one time, like, what do you see when you close your eyes? And they're like, darkness. We see black. I go,
Mm.
really? I go, you guys, I thought we see images. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, as soon as I close my eyes, I start seeing images. And I started realizing something's like different here. But I didn't really start stepping into all of this until like my mid to late 20s. I went through a series of bad relationships where all those relationships ended with the same phrase with the guy I was dating. It's, I'm depressed, I have to be alone. And I was like, why do I keep hearing that phrase? And my one of my friends was like, you should go see this woman. She's like an intuitive healer. She does like crystal energy healings. And I was like, okay, she'll be able to tell me. And she did like this activation and this healing on me that just like catapulted me into my spiritual awakening.
Oh,
She was
wow.
like, you're not loving yourself enough. That's the issue. That's why you keep attracting these type of men. And I was just, after that, I was like, I will fix this. This will happen.
Yeah.
And I was like listening to podcasts about self love. I'm doing like mantras and meditating and every single day. And I'm just shifting my perspective to, no, I deserve this now. And it was only like a month after I saw that woman that I had a job offer come in that I had been working towards for a very long time in comedy. Um, and then I also met my husband a couple months later. So
Nice.
it just, I could feel that there was something happening here. And it just sent me into like the floodgates of this. And the more I kind of saw people like this, they kept telling me, you have these gifts too. So I started developing my intuition, and I got certified to do energy healing. And when I would work on people, I would see these images and I would hear stuff and I would start telling them what I'm getting. And they were like, yes, this is, this is the basement that I lived in, as a child, part of the house that I lived in, or like, yeah, that is my dad, he did wear short jean shorts to cut the lawn. Like, it's just like, you're seeing all this stuff. And like, so I realized there's something here, and I started developing that a lot. And the more I trusted it, the faster it came in and the more I started receiving. So, yeah.
Nice. And so you shared like as you shut your eyes, then you started to have the visual, you saw images. So is it more for you, more of a visual thing? You said you also can will hear sometimes, like
Yeah.
the energy that was on your left. You said you actually could hear, or you heard that person was going to cheat on her husband, that husband was going to cheat on her. So that came through audible, more or less.
It was like a thought. So that was my
A thought.
claircognizance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty strong in my clairsentience, claircognizance, and my clairvoyance. The way the
Okay.
clairs work, they all work together. If you notice, like if you smell cookies, you smell them, but you also kind of taste them, and then you get a feeling, like a nostalgic feeling sometimes. So it's like all these senses working together. That's how the clairs do it. But I like to say, when I teach people intuition, there's a gateway clair sense. Mine is clairvoyance. So it's the first thing you're probably going to see. Or you might be a feeler first. So you're going to feel the information first, and then it opens you up to the other ones. And that the sorry, I'm like tripping over my words. In the moment where I was told that that guy was going to cheat on his wife, I look back now and I look at that moment. There was an angel standing right next to me. It was one of my angels that I channeled
Okay.
now, and it was telling me information about people. So it was so visceral at the moment that I almost blurted it out.
Oh, wow.
and and sometimes I think, what if I had? How would things have been different if I had trusted that
Yeah.
intuition, if I had trusted that message that came through? Yeah, it would have been a very different trip, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, so the clairs, all there's a gateway clair that helps open up all of them. That's interesting because I feel like, and I don't know, but I feel more maybe for me it's claircognizant. It's like a knowing just suddenly happens. I don't know why I, you know that, but yeah, so interesting. So as you moved forward and you knew that you had these gifts, and obviously there was a certain time when you started coming on YouTube and you started sharing some messages, especially around this topic of New Earth. And I don't know, for me, it's like I think I feel like the audience now today is like wanting to know more, right? And maybe in a way we're going through some phases, I guess, but to to speak on what is the thing that's going on now that we need to be aware of, I guess, relative to New Earth.
Yeah, so this year, 2026, kind of feels like a threshold year. I feel like the energy is going to be vastly different when we enter into 2027 for a lot of people who have been on the spiritual and awakening path. What's kind of happening is there's been like, I don't know if you've heard me talk about the waves of people to New Earth.
Yeah.
I've been told there's 6 waves of people that will go into that energy. And they happen at different times. They go at different times. So I'd say the first through the fourth wave are probably awakened. And some of the fifth wave is starting to really wake up and maybe has awakened too, but they're fresher in that process. And what's happening is we're starting to like move up to the next stage of these roles that we're in, or the wave that we're in. We're kind of expanding our energy out this year to help with this shift in consciousness, to make more of people aware of it.
Hmm.
And because that energy is expanding, it's also going to cause a lot of breaking down. If you think about, when you have a new awareness in your life, or maybe in a relationship, or you have awareness about a job that like was hidden, you're like, oh my gosh, everything starts shifting for you. And you might be like, I got to leave this job. I didn't know, like, I feel like this person's embezzling stuff or something, whatever it
Sure.
might be. And so we're stepping into more truth this year. There's a lot of very fast paced, accelerated energy that's coming into this year as well. So things may happen very quickly, very unexpectedly. They may happen sooner than we anticipate and may be ready for. And that's okay, because we're going to learn how to catch ourselves up very quickly as well. So we'll learn how to accelerate our energy and learn to flow with the ebbs that are happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In a kind of general sense, that's what's happening, but we can go a little deeper into it as well.
Yeah, no, please go deeper into it because I feel that this has a little bit to do with just the light that's coming to the planet. Uh, the sun, of course, seems to be overly active with solar flares, and there's a lot of people that I talk to. I know myself personally that I get like ringing in the ears, like tinnitus in a way, but it's like a constant feeling of light or whatever energy that I'm feeling. So, and some people don't feel it more than others, and I can imagine that maybe that has a lot to do with waking people up, but also maybe like shaking their life up a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. Is this, do you do this podcast where people just listen to it too, or is it
Yeah.
just visual? Oh, okay, I was going to draw, so, but that might not be good for
No, no,
people who
no,
are
please
listening to
draw
it.
because no, people do. Yeah, definitely
Okay,
on YouTube. So yeah, yeah.
okay, let me grab my thing. Hold on.
And every time you draw, it helps me because I know in a lot of your videos you actually do some drawing. So that's great.
Yeah, because I'm visual, because I'm clairvoyant first,
Yeah.
it's so much easier for me to do it this way. So let me just get my little markers here.
It's funny, I have just before we started, I started taking notes and I grabbed my color markers.
That's awesome. Okay, so how do I do this? If you think about, do you know what timelines are? Or do you
Yes.
think people who listen to this know what timelines are as well?
Multiple different timelines. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have many, and they're basically choices that we make. It's our energies creating those timelines based off of how we're operating. The timelines are also, if we want to boggle our minds even more, they're already there, and we're matching our energy to them. So it's kind of like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right now, if we're looking at two like dominant timelines, I would say there's kind of three, but I kind of feel this middle or this third one dipping out a little bit more. It feels like some people chose that. That middle one is like this. It's kind of like an AI virtual reality timeline.
Okay.
But right now, so some people might say if we have two Earths, not to make this look like a
Yeah.
basketball court or anything. So let's say these are two Earths, and like I see Earth, the shift to new Earth is like a shedding. It's almost like we're pulling a shell off around the original Earth, and that's what the split is. And we're kind of at like this last layer of that Earth that's shedding off. So it's going to be really intense when you hit like the root cause of something. It's going to be very
Yeah.
intense if you've ever healed anything like that. So if we look at these two Earths also as, I would say, timelines, we kind of have like a higher one and a lower one. So this higher timeline is here, and then we have this lower one. But what's kind of happening, since the Earth is like splitting and pulling off of itself, it still has plugs into this lower timeline. So there are things that are keeping it attached. And so things are going to come up in our lives, they're going to happen in society so that we can detach from this lower timeline. So that might be something like disclosure or a truth coming out about the government. It could be any of those things. It might even just be something in your life that personally happens to detach you from that timeline. So it's happening personally and collectively. The cool thing about this upper timeline, though, is you mentioned the light, that we've had this opening take place. So we've had like this veil over the Earth. Some people call it a dome. Some people call it, the veil. I kind of see it as like this film that's over the Earth. And there's been a crack in it. So it's kept us from remembering like our true nature and actually letting that true nature like sink into our cells and our body and operate from it. But we've had an opening with it now. And I think that the more we've stepped into our hearts on this planet, it's helped open it. And I'm hearing even right now that some of the galactic beings who are helping us with this ascension have helped create this as well. So what this opening does is it's creating like a stream of light to come into and onto the planet, and it has wrapped around this higher timeline. So what that's doing is it's creating safety, it's creating protection. It has now established this point of like no return for a lot of people. It doesn't mean that if you're on this lower timeline and you're still kind of obsessed with, celebrity gossip and what the government is doing and the news and the disasters and all that stuff, that you can't jump up onto this one. In fact, it might be a little easier right now because this light is here, but you have to choose it. And you have to get into that state of knowing it's there and letting it kind of encompass you. So what's happening as well, which is if we take it down even closer, if you're on this timeline, or if let's say you're like some kind floating in the void in between and you're like bouncing between them, if you connect with this light, it's also going to go like this around you. And if you're connecting up to this light, it's going to go like this around you. And then it'll help pull you up. And all we have to do is invite it in, is to kind of, go into our heart space and drop in, breathe into that space and connect up to it. And it's going to start informing us of who we truly are, where to put our focus. That's the biggest thing too, is intention and focus is going to bring us into this higher energy. Where we're placing our attention is really important. And the beings who kind of control this lower timeline, we can call it the dark, we can call it the archons, whatever you want to say, they know our attention creates. They know that our focus is one of the most valuable things. So they want to constantly try to take that from us. We've created our life from fear, from grief, from anger. And so they want us to stay stuck in that. But when we realize that that's kind of just a trick, it's just a game,
Yeah.
and we start focusing up here, then that loses its power.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that's one of the things that you become aware that, hey, it's kind of almost like Jim Carrey in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like, hey, something's going on here. And you start to see patterns and you recognize maybe there is something pulling my energy down or trying to get me to focus on something or a conditioning pattern that I've been in all my life. And I'm now just starting to realize that I can choose. I don't have to be in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like one thing I was told about this year is there will be a lot of disclosure, like things coming to the forefront and truth, but there's also going to be false disclosure, and we have to be in our discernment with that. Um, are you familiar with like with Lyra, the planet of Lyra?
Yes. Yep.
So this is like the first place in our universe that these like darker beings showed up and took
Mhm.
over. And Lyran beings are, for those that don't know, they look like lions. They have fur, all that kind of stuff. But they're really beautiful, powerful, peaceful beings. They lived in unity. They were in unity consciousness there, collaboration, and we're kind of going back to that energy. But the reason that the dark was able to take over there is because they had never come in contact with that energy. So they didn't have discernment. Um,
Mm.
I've seen my lifetime there where these beings showed up, whatever I call them, the Anunnaki, the reptilians, you can just call
Yep.
it the dark or something if you want to. But I remember having an intuition of like, I don't know if we should trust these beings. And everyone else was like, no, no, it's all love, it's all good. And then they took the planet over and they enslaved people, and all this horrible stuff started happening. So I think what we're learning a lot this year too is we have to start trusting those intuitive hits. So like you said,
Mm.
you might get knowings. We might get a feeling in our body. Maybe after you have a conversation with somebody, if you leave that conversation and you might feel like your throat's burning or like you feel sick to your stomach, that's a sign that like, ooh, I don't know if I should maybe continue to converse with that person or seek them out. So we're really going to be given a lot of sensations in the body this year, and we're going to be asked to trust them, because we're bringing our discernment back online. It's something that we didn't have in Lyra, and I think a lot of us, probably most of us, have had a lifetime in Lyra where we did not trust that discernment that was coming through.
That's very good because that makes sense. Because if we're having a revealing, because I look at revealing what is dark, what has been hidden, what has been going on. And as that comes open, I mean, that's like a phase that has to happen no matter what. Before then we can go into um before we can go into it like a, a collapsing and then rebuilding. So the whole new earth coming forth has to be those other phases have to go first in a way, right? And
Yeah.
so the false disclosure too, to be discerning is one of the best things, or have intuition, the sense of knowing, understanding, because I haven't had a lot of things, but I did have an awareness one time where I had an encounter with what would be called an archon. I had no idea what an archon was, but it was like the moment I did, I actually, I don't know how, downloaded all this information and kind of knew exactly um, what I was had encountered. It's like, is it as if, and also then I started becoming aware of where I could see it. Typically, I found I noticed it around situations or people that may have been had drug or alcohol or depression or situations where I saw these dark energies around them.
Mm.
And I also realized that you can command them to go, like, and
Yes.
they have to. So all this I would not have known that if I didn't have that encounter, like if I didn't
Yeah.
have that experience. So what you're sharing makes total sense because it's not just a matter of ripping the Band-Aid off to awaken. It's being able to adjust to our own awareness to be able to start to see these things and then have our own intuition at a point where we can be guided and not get taken in a wrong direction.
Yeah. And that's where the body becomes really important too, because it's, we've decided to come into this ascension lifetime and do it in a body. We're working with it. So the more we can pay attention to it and the signals it's giving us, the more it's really going to help us. This year, everyone's talking about the fire horse and the fire and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I really feel like it is us stepping into our power, like what true power actually is. And I think that power actually is more kind and loving to the self. We don't owe anybody anything. We don't have to hold ourselves back to try and pull people up. When we step up into our power, our creativity, and move forward where we feel called, that actually creates like this opening. My guides always show it to me. It's like this cape that's like coming off the back of me. It's like this energetic cape, and other people get to then grab onto that cape and fly up with you. It's about you can't help someone step into their power if you're holding yourself back from your power to try and pull them up into theirs. And I think that with the discernment stuff too, like the world has trained us to not listen to the discernment, the intuitive hits that we're getting. We've become people pleasers. We're empaths. We're feeling everything, and we think we have to like give our energy to people all the time, and that gets us into trouble. And I think we're learning to really pay attention. We're going to be asked to pay attention to it more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Because sometimes because we're naturally compassionate and we care, but there's no amount of suffering for ourselves that will help another person suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing we can truly do is embody our whatever, our light, our truth. So yeah, I do like that. It's very,
Yeah.
very important. And at a time like this, where people are seeing that disruption going on center stage on the world, is that could be tricky.
Hmm. Yeah, it can. We're being asked to be more of the observer. Like we take action from a heart-based space where we feel called, but as we kind of just watch what happens in the world, we just, if we let it and we allow it, instead of trying to clog the space with I got to fix this, I got to do something about it, we create space for it to dissipate and move through the energy that whatever is happening, it'll move through faster. So having that knowingness, if I'm here to just be the observer this year and really watch maybe my own environment and reality, the people I interact with, how I feel while I'm with them, other things that are happening, how they make me feel in the outside world. So I would say being the observer is a great thing to step into for the year. And it'll tell you a lot. You'll probably see a lot that you normally don't when you're trying to operate of like from whatever trauma or whatever thing we're used to operating from.
Yeah, and Sarah, since you do, on your website, you have some coaching. I guess you help people with opening up their intuitive channels, right?
Yeah.
So, are you noticing that more people today, it's becoming easier for them to be able to tap into their intuition? And I guess from that, because they're becoming more intuitively connected, are they naturally becoming more of the observer? Is that also happening?
I think so too. I think a lot of times when I teach intuition, people realize I've actually been doing this all along and I didn't know.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I am getting stuff. And I think the biggest thing with intuition is just learning to trust it. The more you trust it, the more it's going to work for you. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing I hear when I teach that out of classes and stuff like that is, yeah, I need to trust that more. Oh, I got that hit yesterday and I didn't listen to it. I got to trust that more. So building that muscle of trust. And when you know how you receive your intuition too, you practice it, you're going to get used to it more. Like sometimes when I talk to people, I'll just start seeing images in my third eye. They're just popping in. And so I can like see them while I'm talking to you, and then I'm feeling and getting the knowing in my body too. So we start being able to like multitask as well, the more we trust it.
Oh, wow. So you can actually handle that multitasking while you're working with somebody or while you're busy. It's just information that's constantly coming up for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like all the time, but like you can turn it off. You can say, no, I don't want that right now. But when our energies are really engaged, it kind of just naturally happens. Yeah. And I can say, yes, I want to do this and share what I'm getting with people, or I'm just like, I'm just going to let it be. So it just depends. It just depends.
Nice. Well, would you be able to go into a channeling now? Just maybe if maybe even sharing a general message around where we are at this time, the current energies on the planet, and what might be a good thing for the average listener to do or to put into practice in their life that can help them, especially if they're going through, a stressful time.
Yeah, I can go in and a lot of times it helps if you want to ask questions while I'm in there. That'll help too. The guys
Okay.
like that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, it'll take me just a minute to kind of connect and get in that space. So if you guys want to, you can also close your eyes and breathe with me if you'd like, and we'll open up into it. Okay. So the first thing I'm being shown is that there is a doorway that's opening for a lot of us, and it actually feels like it's happening at the end of February. Just got a lot of emotion with that. And what we're being asked with this doorway is it's a bit of risk. I'm hearing that we're being asked to leave the old ways and the old world behind as we knew it, and taking the risk to be introduced to something brand new. And it feels like there is just a little bit of like a void or, a threshold that we're stepping over. And as we go into March, it feels like the energy really starts to shift and change and hit even more of a rapid speed. They're almost showing me like as we enter into this year, if we go from March, it starts like this and then it just goes wider and wider and wider of the amount of light that we can step into. Light is information, but it's also expansion. It's wisdom. It's the understanding of more of who we are. And it feels like each month we're just getting more and more and more. And if we choose to really follow that and put our focus there, the expansion that we'll experience this year will be just next level. It's more than we would have experienced at any time in the past. It's as if they're making me feel like, hold on, just want to make sure they're showing me a visual here. Like we're going to be in a whole new territory, land. Like it just feels as though our personal realities and the world is going to seem and look very, very different by the end of this year in a good way. When we keep choosing to walk into this light that's being offered to us. Hold on. They're saying that the version of us that is already at the end point of this year, it's already standing in this energy and we can connect to it. They're asking us to step into this knowing of, I know the place that my heart is telling me that I'm going to be, the version of me that I'm stepping into, and I can connect with it now. And I can feel that version of us like holding its hand out saying, come on, let's go. come be with me. Let's connect. And you can pull your energy towards that version of you. And the guides are asking us to hold that knowing right now. I know I'm getting to that point. And they're saying, we want to give you visions of who you're becoming as you release all this stuff off that no longer serves you, the plugs to the old timeline, to the old earth. They're like, let us take care of it for you. We will show you what needs to release, and you say, yes, I'm ready. And as you step into the new energy that's being presented to you, it feels like this light will come in and help release these old plugs off of you. They're saying it's less work. We're stepping into less work. We don't have to do so much to heal ourselves anymore because we're stepping into this trust. And as we trust that we can be taken care of, it's saying we will. They're showing me that with this light, there's all of these, I've seen this before, but it's even more now, like these beings that are made of the light. You could call them angels, you could call them light beings. They're coming through this tunnel of light, this opening, and they're helping to expand it. And as we trust, we each have like this light team that we haven't been able to really connect with because of the veil. And now it's like a straight line to this team. They're versions of us. They might be like soul sisters and soul brothers, our soul team that's coming in, and they're helping us unplug. They're fluffing up our energy. They're taking care of things for us. But the big word I'm feeling is that trust. We have to trust that this will be taken care of, and that as we follow our heart, we will keep being lifted higher and higher into that version of us that's waiting for us at the end of this year.
And so for the person that is, let's say, they know they have a mission, they know they have a calling, but for most of their life, they have felt stuck or maybe either not ready yet, which is a big one, or maybe they're just in a little bit of fear that if they speak their truth, that they may become unpopular or unfriended or something. What would you say to those individuals?
They're saying, they're going back to this word trust.
Mm.
This is what's being asked of us. So I'm hearing in everything in the universe, there is an exchange. And without trust, these beings cannot help us. Trust is basically saying yes to them. And I'm hearing they go, we're here to master fear, to not let it have power over us. So if you take even one step to share even a sentence of the beliefs that you've stepped into with someone that you feel called to share it with, trust that we will help you be received. Trust that we will take care of you. Now, they're telling me we don't need to be naive again. You don't go sharing it with people that you know will be hell-bent in misunderstanding you. We can't go, there's a phrase I like to use, go looking for milk at the hardware store. We have to find our pockets. We have to find the energy where we will be received, and trust that these guides that are coming in for us will create the space and reach out to those that need to receive what we're bringing forward, that they'll be able to come find you. But we have to, again, they're taking me back to the beginning of this channeling. We're being asked to step through the doorway, and that involves risk. And we can sit and hide and say, I might be attacked, I might be badgered, I won't be accepted. Well, that's all just a reflection of what you're feeling about yourself. I can't accept this part of me, so I won't be able to share it. I'm attacking myself for wanting to step out, but being afraid to do it. It's all things that we are doing to ourselves. So then we will attract that if we don't step into this trust. So this doorway that's opening, it it's not something that closes, but it is available and we have to choose it. And we can choose to stay in the old and operate from that energy and remain small, and that's okay. There's no shame about it. But this doorway is here, and if you're ready to go bigger, if you're ready to experience more of you, if you want to have more of that bliss, let's cross the threshold and step into it with trust.
Thank you. Is there anything around? I know people have sometimes asked questions about it's again, it's somewhat fear-based. I don't want to go there, but questions about you know, changes that are happening on the planet from a geographical thing, such as, earthquakes, volcanoes, and things like that. I know some people go down that rabbit hole quite a bit, but is there anything that's coming through relative to how we can be around some of those events that can happen?
Yes, the first thing I'm being made to feel is that we have to stop anticipating that it will be a disastrous event. What if the earth, as she's waking up and stepping into her power and cracking open, what if it happens in places where nobody is? What if this can be a cracking open without having to experience some type of massive, catastrophic event in the middle of where thousands or millions of people live? They're making me feel like the earth is reactivating herself. They're showing me a ring. There's this thing called the Ring of Fire with volcanoes, and I'm feeling that getting reactivated in the coming years. It is igniting the power of the earth. It's her sending her energy up, saying she's ready. She's connecting with the opening in this light. They are showing me like little earthquakes. I feel like there's one in the middle of the ocean, possibly the Pacific. They're not telling me when, but it's just like the earth cracking open a bit. As you know, when you crack like an egg before you put it in a pan, it's just like a few taps, like the little cracks get created. And that's kind of the same thing that's happening with the earth. As we pull up onto the higher timeline and we keep focusing in that direction, they're making me feel like these types of disastrous or catastrophic events are not catastrophic and disastrous. If we want to focus on it being that way, then we can make it that way and we can create it and we can step onto that timeline. But if we keep focusing up and letting the earth have the experience that she needs to have to crack open and become who she is and shed, then we will let her have that process. I'm also hearing that the earth can feel the places where love is potent. So if you're in your heart and you're connecting in and loving yourself and your reality and continuing to step into that space, then you will be safe and protected. And she will feel that energy from you and say, well, I don't need to crack open here because love is already here. And you can help the earth in that way by grounding that energy in and igniting that energy for her, and she will not need to have as many crack opens. So again, kind of what we were already talking about, it feels like the guides were already bringing it through in the conversation of our focus will create, and whatever needs to be will be. And if there is something that is catastrophic, that is disastrous, that many people may pass from or have injuries or whatever it may be, it will be okay. They're telling me we have to keep coming back to the soul level of things, understanding the truth of our soul. Our heart is the voice box of our soul. And the more we can ignite that, the more we will see things be lighter and brighter, the more that we will see things the way that they need to be from a higher perspective, as opposed to this tiny human perspective or linear understanding. We hope that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yes. I want to thank you. I don't know if there's any other last thoughts or messages that you want to share with the audience.
Sure, let's see if there's anything else here. They're just wanting to say that these light beings that are coming through for us, they're excited. They're
Yeah.
ready. They've been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here. And they want nothing more. There's nothing greater that they want to do than serve us and our highest calling. There's so much love available for us if we just allow it and allow these beings to come in. They'll be with us always. They are us. And they're just saying, if you can, for a moment, when things feel catastrophic in your life, chaotic, you don't know how to move through, if you can take a deep breath in and invite them in and just say, I don't know how to move through this, but I know that I will, and ask for what you want. They're saying, ask us. If you can, say it out loud. If you're not in a place to do that, then really focus your thought. And then you have to drop into trust. I don't know how I'll move through this, but I know that I will. I know I'll be supported. And keep intending what you need. And let us wow you. Let us surprise you in how supported you can be when you just create a little opening of trust for us to come in. That is all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There, thank you. And thank your guides. I know you from reading about you, you have a pair of angels and you also have what is it? It's like um a group that you channel too, right?
Yeah, these Arcturian beings. Yes, yeah, they're incredible.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Was that from the Octurians or
I felt like that was more angelic.
angelic? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a beautiful message and it made total sense. And the word trust kept coming up. I like what you shared at the end about to basically they're there to help. And if we're ever stuck, just to ask to get their help. So I thought that was beautiful.
Amazing. I'm glad. Yeah, it
Yeah.
felt good.
Yeah. So any last thing that you would like to share? I know you have this new program about helping people to get a YouTube channel started, a person that might be like a light worker or starseed, or maybe they have a mission and they know they have this calling, but to put it all together in a package and to help them with all the aspects of being able to bring that into the social media aspect of YouTube. You know that very well because you're doing that, but to be able to assist people too. What would you like to share about that?
Yeah, it feels like our messages and our wisdom are really, really needed this year. I'll just share this really quick, but a few weeks ago, my angels would not let me sleep, and I felt them hovering over me saying, you have to do this. You have to help people step into their messaging and create this. Kind of feels like we want to flood the airwaves with all of this higher dimensional wisdom and what we've been through. You know, whether you're a channeler, you're an intuitive, maybe you're just someone who's healed a lot, or you want to share what you know and what you've discovered on your journey. Yeah, I want to help you and teach you all about what I've learned and how I've created my YouTube and help you get out there because I think it's really needed. So, yeah, if anyone's interested, that starts in March.
And then we'll share the link. It's actually that's on your website,
Yes, it's called Soul Creator.
Goal Creator, and your website is uh,
sarahshooksoul.com.
okay. I'll make sure that link is also down below. And yeah, and then also you take people on these trips, and I guess you have one coming up to Egypt, is it? And
Yeah,
also,
I'm taking yeah a small group to Egypt and Jordan. So we're going to visit Petra and some different places in Jordan, and then go through Egypt and the temples and the pyramids. And I'm taking a group of people who feel as though they are kind of these creators of new systems or new pieces of the new earth, and they might have a bunch of ideas or want to put them together. And so we're going to awaken those creative blueprints within us.
beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that's great. Again, Sarah, I really appreciate you being on the show today. I feel that everything that you shared was very enlightening. It truly helped me. It helped my audience. And if anybody does need to reach out to you, they can reach out to you through your website.
Yeah, you can do that. Mm-hmm.
They can find more about you. Again, I'll make sure that that link is down below. And before we depart, any last message?
Yeah, I mean, go for it this year. If you've been
Yeah.
holding back on something, this is the year to go for it, because I think that you're going to be supported in it, and surprise yourself with what you're capable of. We are grand creators, and it's time to step in for sure.
Like you said, it's time to light up the airways with our voices and our messages.
Yes.
So thank you, Sarah. So anybody listening to this, if you feel called, definitely go to Sarah's website, find out about her program to be able to do like what I'm doing on YouTube and get your voice out there and do like what Sarah's doing, because follow her on her YouTube channel as well, because she does drop some really, really meaningful messages. She channels and she brings in information that I believe is transformative. It's helping people wake up, and it's truly making a difference in the world. And she's a way shower that can help you get there too. So thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate you.